Sorry folks, I get so caught up in the carving I forget that things are going to turn off. Be careful when you use this gouge. Notice I have my finger here. Even if you have a glove on, it will go through the glove if you're not careful. Maybe not as severe as without the glove, of course, but you want to be very, very careful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this on here and kind of use my thumb, and I use this portion of my hand, okay, for the strength in pushing it. And I use my thumb as a pivoting motion, and I let the top part of my hand do the work. So, you know, you just want to be very, very careful with it. You certainly don't want to be gouging out part of your hand, you know, and stuff. Not a fun way to start a day. Okay, and then over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take it and I'm going to go in the same direction. Alright, see how I have that? Going in the opposite in the same direction, and a little bit under the hat here. Okay, that it looks like it's all flowing in one direction. Alright, so we'll work on that a little bit later, and I'll show you how to finish that off. Meanwhile, you may want to draw a line where you want your trim of your hat to go. Alright, it's easier to outline it than eyeballing it, because sometimes when you try to eyeball it, unless you're good at that, I can do it sometimes. A lot of times I do it, it works out okay, but remember I've done many of these, so I'm very comfortable with drawing lines on things, but there's a lot of times I will put reference points. Now you notice here it's much wider than over here, so we need to bring this over just a tad more. Alright, kind of match it up, and that's why you want to do that when you can. Alright, the only problem when you do a pencil is make sure you take all the markings off, because this is going to be painted white, and if you don't take everything off, you're going to end up seeing these lines through the white when you go to paint. Okay, so and then this is the hair flow. You know, you can do whatever there you like. I usually try to do things in an opposite direction than what the beard is. This is going to be rounded off a little more as well. But when you're doing this, I use a V-tool. You can use a knife, and you can, if you don't have a V-tool, you can use your knife like this, okay, and then cut it from the top, okay, from the top off, because this is going to stick out. But if you have the V-tool, which I thought I had, yeah, here it is. What I do is I take little itty-bitty strokes, deep but precise, and kind of follow that line all the way out and around. Okay, try to keep your hand out of the way as much as possible. And the thing is, if you do this the first time around and you don't like how deep it is, you go back and do it again. That's the beauty of it, because it saves you a couple of things. It saves you from doing a couple extra cuts with the stop cut and then the other cut. Alright, so see how I just slipped off there? It is slippy. There is sometimes no place to put your thumb there. I'm going to go up. I'm going to make that as deep as possible. Now, one little trick to this, and I just want to show it to you. If you go deeper than what this is right here, okay, this area right here, right, if you go deeper than that, when you cut, you're going to be tearing. And let me show you what that is. If I can find an old piece here that I can show you, I'll show you. Okay, let's do it on this one. Here's a big piece. If you go deeper, okay, let's take a, okay, so that's a clean cut. You've got both sides. That's pretty well the depth of it, right? So let's do it again. Okay, you notice how it's tearing. Okay, it tore this out right here, and that's still hanging there. See that? So if you go deeper than what the top of your little gouge is going to handle, you're going to be tearing things apart. So it's very important. Now the only way you can go deeper, if you want, and I'll show you on here, it's kind of a little trick. Say you want to go really deeper than that. What you want to do, because it's see how it's hooking? because your corners are hooking up on your wood. What you want to do is when you make your first pass, okay, let's start over here. You make your first pass and you want to go deeper, okay? You go as far as you can without ripping it. Take your knife, round off that corner a little bit, okay? And then you'll be able to go deeper because your corners are not going to get hooked up on it, okay? There you go. So you can get it much deeper. It takes a few extra steps. You can probably purchase these that are deeper than what this is, but this is a micro set. And the reason the micro set are so wonderful, you can do the hair, you can do the tassel, you can do the brim of the hat with these. So when I go around and do these, I'm doing it at a depth that it's just under the depth of that gouge, because and it keeps it all nice and uniformed, okay, as I'm going around here. Alright, so once you do all that, and I'll do this offline a little bit, then you want to go from the top, okay, and let me spray it for a second. We got a couple minutes yet here that I can show you. You want to go from the top, and you want to go ahead and just round off that edge, okay, and then you're going to go on the other side and round off the edge as well, and then you'll have a nice little area of where these two areas meet. Okay, so when I come back, I'll have all this done, and I'll show you how to finish off the beard and the tassel and the brim. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do the spiral on this one, since I had done it before. You know that it just takes more time, and you can go refer to that. If you want to put the spiral in this cap, you can. All you have to do is find your